the last and third thing here is creating a histogram. Now, we've dealt with stem and leaf plot. We used the stem and leaf plot to help us to make the frequency distribution. Now we're going to take the frequency distribution and help us make a histogram. And again, just to give you an idea of what's going on, there's a histogram is pretty much a graph of a frequency distribution. Pretty much. Some people will say it's something different, but this is pretty much what I'm going to say. It's pretty much a graph of frequency distribution. Again, this is not a vocabulary word, so you don't have to write this down, well, you have to write it down for your notes purposes, but you don't have to memorize this and have it for vocabulary quiz. But when it comes to a histogram, unlike a bar graph, a histogram does not have gaps between the bars. If you have gaps between the bars, your whole graph is going to be completely wrong, and I'm going to count it wrong because you're doing that with a bar graph instead of a histogram. Histogram has no gaps between bars. No gaps. So when we do our histogram in a few seconds, make sure that there are no gaps between your bars. It's not a bar graph. So for example 3, the last thing we're going to do is create a histogram from the frequency distribution we just created in example 2. So our wonderful frequency distribution that we created right here is going to help us when we do our histogram. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and draw the lines out, because we need lines for this. So we're going to do like a, kind of like we were doing like a bar graph type thing. There you go. Now, on this side here, I'm going to write down this information because it's important. Alright, so when it comes to the numbers that are here on this vertical part, this vertical piece, those are numbers that are the frequencies from the frequency distribution. So we're taking the frequencies and we're putting on the sides there. On the bottom, let's do some green, that's fine. The numbers you'll get down here, and we haven't filled the numbers in yet, but you'll see in a few seconds. These are going to be from the intervals. If you can see that. From the intervals in the frequency distribution. And again, intervals, not range. So everything that we're going to deal with here literally comes from the actual frequency distribution that we did. Everything. So here, talking about the actual frequency, the range parts here, I'm going to go ahead and throw these in. And our frequencies, or our ranges, sorry, went by tens. So here, we're going to start off with 0. The next number is going to be 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, 50. And I'm going to stop at 60 because that's where our intervals stopped. If your intervals go past 60, like you go up to 70 or 80, you'll go until you get to that last interval. And again, remember, ours stopped at 60 right here. So we went from 0, we went all the way up to 60. So when it came down here, we went from 0 all the way up to 60. So 0 to 60. 0 to 60. So whichever one you end on, that's where you're going to stop. All right, now when it comes to your frequencies over here, that's up to you how you do it. So you can go by tens, you can go by twos, you can go by ones. It's all up to you. I'm going to go by twos because I just like going by twos. But again, it's up to you. I like going by twos. That helps out with that because it goes a little bit faster. All right, so now the last part is just taking what we have in this table and we're making it into a model. We're making it into it. So therefore, the name of our class is Advanced Functions and Modeling. This is our model. We're modeling. Yay. I love that. All right, so the first part that we're going to deal with is now going ahead and taking our frequencies and putting it on here. And pull this up so you can see that part too. All right, so if we talk about from 0 to 10, how many numbers or what was our frequency? It was 0. So that means here, our frequency is going to stay at 0. Stays at 0 down here. So we don't really have to do anything there. We just keep it right there at 0. Now, our next one, from 10 to 20, we said that there were 4 numbers between 10 and 20. So when we do our bar, again, there's no spaces. We start here at 10, go up till we get to 4. Just come around and bring it back down. So between 10 and 20, there were only 4. Then we keep going. Between 20 and 30, there were only 3 numbers there. So that means here, we know 3 is between 4 and 2, sorry. So we'll just say right here, come down. And again, remember there's no gaps between them, so don't put a gap. That makes sense. All right, then we keep going on. So between 30 and 40, we said there's 4 again, so we bring it up here. So we take this up, here, comes down. Between 40 and 50, we said that there were 2. So we come here and make it at 2. And do your best on it. And again, it's best to do this on line paper because that way you can make sure everything is accurate. But here, mine is not on line paper, so it's not really that accurate here. All right, and then between 50 and 60, it's another 2. All right, the last thing I do, and I want you to do this too, is just write the numbers above each bar. So we know this is 0, this is 4, 3, 4, 2, and 2. And you're done. That's it. Oh yeah.